But joining me right now is the Secretary of the Commission, Dr. Khotso Divya, who's just going to give us more information and details about the Commission. Doctor, can you just give us recommendations? Remember, we spoke about this on the side, but can you just tell us how is it expected to work in terms of recommendations? Are they binding? What's going to happen from today moving forward?
Well, it's premature to talk about recommendations. It's premature because today is the first public hearing of the Commission. There are numerous witnesses that will be brought before the Commission. Specifically today, as far as I understand, there will be no witness will be brought before the Commission. What will happen today? It will be opening remarks by the chairperson of the Commission. We will then have opening statements from evidence leaders. I think they will be led by Advocate Paul Pretorius, who is the head of the legal team. Thereafter, I think there will be presentation of documentation presented to the Commission by Advocate Thandi Norman. So that will make up part of today. So I think the witnesses will only begin from tomorrow onwards. But today is a real big start for the Commission.
Speaking of witnesses, in terms of their security, how sure are we that they're not going to be influenced to hold back information and also to give information that is required by the inquiry?
Well, those witnesses who will need protection, we have an arrangement with law enforcement agencies to protect witnesses to an extent that is necessary. On the question of being influenced with holding information, my understanding is that all the witnesses who will come before the chairperson of the Commission are going to be requested to take an oath. And of course, once you take an oath, you are expected to truthfully respond to all the questions that are put before you by the Commission.
Now let's speak about the evidence. In terms of Clause 8.2, the evidence presented to the inquiry, is it binding? Criminal proceedings going to be, are they going to be criminally charged? What's going to happen with the evidence? Look,
my understanding is that the witnesses will come before the Commission. They will not be criminally prosecuted based on the evidence that they give to the Commission alone. But of course, it doesn't mean if they've given evidence here, that evidence cannot be obtained elsewhere. But my information is that they will not be prosecuted based on the evidence they give to the Commission alone.
But this means that the police or law enforcement officers can't open criminal charges against them?
Well, I mean, remember, the Commission cannot overrule or inhibit or hinder the work of law enforcement agencies. There are acts of parliament that governs how law enforcement agencies must do their work, and the Commission will in no way stop law enforcement agencies from doing what they're supposed to do.
Is it possible for you to give us a breakdown of how the inquiry is going to happen? I heard you speaking about 3 weeks and then public hearings, and we also know that some parts of the inquiry is not privy to the media and to the public. Can you just give us a breakdown of how that's going to work?
Well, I mean, we are scheduled from today and maybe until the end of September. Our program will be determined to a great extent by our terms of reference and the remedial actions of the public protector. You know that we have lined up witnesses. We have released media statement to this effect, and you know the witnesses that we have mentioned. Those will be lined up in the next 3 weeks. But the hearings that will be taking place in the next 3 hearings will be the first block of the hearings. There are going to be another set of hearings that will be scheduled depending on the evidence obtained by the Commission.
And are people still welcome to bring submissions, to bring evidence, if any?
Well, we issued a notice some few weeks back inviting all members of the public to bring information and evidence that they have that has a bearing on this matter. And I can confirm that there are many members of the public that have been bringing evidence. We will not say that is enough. We will still encourage members of the public to come forward with what they know and give whatever information they deem necessary to the Commission.
And lastly, how long is it expected to take? How long can we expect the whole inquiry with the witnesses and everything, the reports, the recommendations? How long can we expect this whole commission to take?
You will know that we recently went to court and the judge in that court case, based on the information that we presented to him, decided that there will be an extension of 2 years, starting from the 1st of March. But of course, you'll also know that on the 2nd of October, the relevant parties who had originally applied to courts to ensure that this inquiry happens will also be given an opportunity to comment on that judgment and express their preferences. So we'll wait and see.